Picture this. You're in San Antonio, Texas. You need a loaf of bread. The question isn't which supermarket to visit. The question is, which of the 29 Walmarts is closest? 29. In a single American city. With light traffic, you can drive from a single neighborhood park and reach 11 Walmart locations in under 15 minutes. 25 stores in under 20 minutes, and all 29, every single one, in less than 25 minutes. Let that sink in for a second. 29 Walmarts, one city. But San Antonio isn't special. This is America. 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of at least one Walmart. The company operates 5,212 stores. You can find one in Kodiak, Alaska, a town of just 5,500 people, accessible only by boat or plane. There's one in remote Williston, North Dakota, a full 2 hours from the nearest other city. There's even one less than a mile from the Grand Canyon, in the tiny town of Page, Arizona. Walmart hasn't just built a retail chain. It has quietly, methodically, conquered the United States of America. And then, it kept going. Most of Walmart's stores are now located outside the United States. Another 5,700 locations spread across Canada, Asia, Latin America, and Africa. It's running out of continents to expand into. And that, right there, is the beginning of a very serious problem, because Walmart is a publicly traded company. And publicly traded companies don't get to stop growing. Ever. That's the deal. And it's starting to catch up with them. Last year, Walmart earned $713 billion in revenue, $1.48 bag of hamburger buns at a time. If it were a country, its economy would rank 22nd in the world, ahead of Singapore, the UAE, and Sweden. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Walmart has set itself a modest goal of 4% annual growth. 4% sounds small. On $713 billion, it is anything but. That's an additional $28 billion every single year. Just to satisfy its investors in 2026, Walmart has to earn the entire annual revenue of Southwest Airlines, more than it earned last year. Then, in 2027, it has to add another Paramount on top of that. Then Apollo. Then Capital One. And so on. Forever. Meanwhile, while Walmart is slowly running out of room to grow, its biggest rival has nowhere to go but up. That rival is Amazon. And the battlefield they're fighting over is worth $1 trillion a year. Almost nobody talks about it like the war that it actually is. This is that story. More and more shopping is moving online. That's not a prediction anymore. It's just reality. And as it does, Amazon benefits and Walmart loses. The latest casualty is a category called health and beauty. Toothpaste, shampoo, makeup, face wash. Products people used to buy at Walmart without thinking. Historically, this was Walmart's bread and butter. A customer walks in for a $3 gallon of milk and walks out with high-margin deodorant. Face masks, shaving cream, those high-margin products, that's where the real money is. That's what kept the whole model running. But between 2019 and 2022, Amazon's market share in health and beauty doubled. It effectively took that entire category from Walmart, leaving the retail giant with the low-margin essentials and the loss leaders. The stuff that barely makes money. The stuff Amazon doesn't want. Today, the average American household spends $3,000 a year on Amazon. 70% of all adults are Prime members. Amazon has even recently surpassed Walmart in total revenue, leading many analysts to wonder not if, but when the shift becomes irreversible. When Amazon will turn its oldest rival into the next Kmart, the next Sears, the next Toys R Us. Except, there's one obstacle standing between Amazon and total retail dominance, and it's enormous. One word: groceries. The U.S. grocery market is worth $1 trillion annually. Americans collectively spend more at supermarkets than China's 1.4 billion consumers. Despite having just 1/4 the population, the grocery store is, for most Americans, their most frequent point of commercial contact. The store they choose has unprecedented influence over what brands they see, what they try, and what they keep buying. And the vast majority of this shopping still happens in person. Online grocery is growing, but the store isn't dead, not even close. What Amazon is to online retail, an unrivaled category-defining giant, Walmart is to groceries. And that gap isn't closing. So the real question, the one that determines who wins the future of American retail, is this: can Amazon conquer grocery before Walmart conquers e-commerce? A few years ago, the answer seemed obvious, and it pointed directly at Amazon. In 2017, Amazon made what looked like the move of the decade. It acquired Whole Foods for $13 billion, 456 locations, an affluent and fiercely loyal customer base, an instantly recognizable brand. All of it overnight. In the days following the announcement, Amazon's market cap grew by more than the entire cost of the acquisition. The deal paid for itself before it closed. It looked, at the time, like the beginning of the end for every other grocery retailer on the planet. Walmart, meanwhile, looked paralyzed. Store managers received bonuses based on their individual location's sales, so they had every financial incentive to resist online growth. They lobbied internally for higher online prices, making Walmart.com less competitive against Amazon. The resistance came from inside. Eventually, Walmart made a desperate swing. It acquired Jet.com, an Amazon competitor, for $3.3 billion. 4 years later, Jet.com was permanently shut down. Most Americans never even knew it existed. Amazon, by contrast, seemed to have all the momentum, and it pressed its advantage hard into Phase 2. Amazon's second move was ambitious. It decided to build a physical retail presence from the ground up, entirely from scratch. First came Amazon Books, physical bookstores stocked with algorithmically selected bestsellers from Amazon.com. Then came Amazon Go, sleek, futuristic convenience stores that used cameras and weight-sensitive shelves to track your purchases in real time. When it was time to leave, you simply walked out. Your Amazon account was charged automatically. No cashier, no checkout line. They called it Just Walk Out. For urban professionals grabbing lunch near their office in Seattle or on Wall Street, it felt like the future. Then came the main event, Amazon Fresh, full-size supermarkets, a shopping cart with built-in cameras that scanned your items as you placed them inside. When your shopping was done, you skipped the checkout line entirely and walked straight to your car. No wait, no friction. It was a bold, multi-front expansion.
Thanks.
And it looked,
have a great day,
for a moment, like it was actually going to work. Then, one by one, everything fell apart. Amazon Books closed in 2022. Shoppers couldn't figure out why it existed. It offered nothing a regular bookstore hadn't offered before. And nothing Amazon.com couldn't do better from a couch. It was a solution looking for a problem that wasn't there. Then, earlier this year, all 57 Amazon Fresh locations and all 15 Amazon Go stores were permanently closed, with only days of warning, no gradual wind down, no transition period, no farewell, just gone, overnight, as if they had never existed. And then came the detail that made the whole thing feel almost absurd. Amazon celebrated just walkout technology. The cashierless checkout system, praised as a glimpse into the future of retail, was not what it claimed to be. It was revealed to be largely powered by a team of over 1,000 workers in India, manually watching camera footage of customers shopping, logging their purchases in real time, by hand. It wasn't artificial intelligence, it was human labor, hidden behind a sleek interface. After a full decade of trying to crack physical retail, Amazon's foray into brick-and-mortar stores ended in complete and total failure. It remains the one glaringly stagnant line in an otherwise exponential story of growth, the one place the playbook just didn't work. The one exception, the only physical retail venture that survived, was Whole Foods, a brand it bought, not one it built. Whole Foods works because it is exclusive. Its loyal customers love it, precisely for what it refuses to be: pricey, exclusively organic produce, a strict absence of high-sugar, high-calorie name brands, relatively sparse aisles that feel nothing like a conventional supermarket. That identity is the product. It cannot be expanded without destroying it. That's not a strategy problem. That's a structural one. Any attempt to broaden Whole Foods' appeal, to bring in less affluent customers, to stock mainstream brands, will almost certainly alienate the customers who made it valuable. You cannot please both groups simultaneously. Amazon tried to solve this with Amazon Fresh. Amazon Fresh is now gone. Which means Amazon, after a decade of effort and billions of dollars spent, controls only a tiny corner of the $1 trillion grocery market. And that is where things get genuinely interesting. Because while Amazon was failing at physical retail, Walmart was quietly doing something nobody expected. It was changing. Before we get into what Walmart did next, and this is where the story gets genuinely surprising, a quick note. If you're new to the US code, this is what we do here. We take the biggest economic battles shaping America and break them down in a way that actually makes sense. Subscribe if you want more of this. 5 seconds genuinely helps the channel. Now, Walmart's transformation. For decades, Walmart operated on a single, ruthless principle: low prices above everything else. Convenience, cleanliness, freshness, customer service, all secondary. The company knew its core customers came for deals, and it built everything around that single truth. And it worked, for a while. But this created a massive blind spot. By prioritizing price above all else, Walmart systematically drove away every consumer who valued anything other than a bargain. And as America's spending power shifted, as more households entered the middle and upper middle class, Walmart found itself locked out of the fastest growing segments. The stubbornness extended to small details. Take Apple Pay and Google Pay, features most modern retailers adopted years ago as basic table stakes. Walmart refused. It didn't want to give Apple or Google any cut of its margins, so it built its own system instead. A proprietary and confusing payment system called Walmart Pay, and it asked its typically older, less tech-comfortable shoppers to figure it out. It was the kind of decision that said, clearly, that Walmart wasn't trying to attract new customers. It was just holding the ones it already had. But something shifted, and the results have been remarkable. Walmart began making a series of changes that, individually, might seem small, but together, they represent a fundamental rethinking of what this company is trying to be. Between 8 and 10 in the morning, its stores now feature quiet hours. lights dimmed, music turned off. Designed for customers with sensory impairments, or anyone who wants calm, new store layouts feature wider aisles and upgraded, more private pharmacy areas. Small changes, but they signal something larger is happening. For $40 a year, Walmart now offers in-home delivery. A trained employee enters your house, unpacks your groceries, and organizes them into your fridge or pantry. It now carries designer fashion brands and fragrances from Gucci, Dior, and Marc Jacobs. Inside Walmart, read that sentence again. It struck a deal with Apple to sell a special, lower-cost version of the MacBook Air, a product that would have seemed absurd in a Walmart just years ago. It updated its logo, redesigned its store brand Great Value, and launched a new premium line called Better Goods, organic, vegan, and gluten-free, aimed directly at the Trader Joe's going crowd. These weren't random experiments. They were signals of a deliberate, calculated strategic pivot. And the data says it's working. 75% of Walmart's recent growth has come from households earning over $100,000 a year. Read that again. The store that was once the exclusive domain of budget shoppers is now growing fastest among upper-middle-class Americans. The explanation isn't complicated. These days, even well-off households feel the pressure of inflation, a stagnant labor market, and rising housing costs. Americans across every income bracket are looking for deals. And Walmart, with its unmatched scale and ruthless supply chain, has deals nobody else can match. Now, there's a segment of Americans, particularly college-educated, city-dwelling consumers, who have long viewed Walmart as something to avoid on principle. From union-busting allegations to low wages, from monopolizing small towns to driving out local businesses, Walmart has spent decades earning the reputation of the original evil corporation. No amount of Better Goods granola is going to change the minds of these consumers, and Walmart knows it. But here's the thing. Walmart may not need to change their minds, because it just found a backdoor into exactly those consumers. And it's one of the most quietly brilliant strategic moves in modern retail. The American Express Platinum Card costs $895 a year. It is, by any conventional measure, a luxury product. Its cardholders get access to premium airport lounges with complimentary cocktails, spa credits when they travel, and discounted Equinox memberships. Equinox, the high-end fitness club that runs between $200 and $400 a month. This is the world of the Amex Platinum cardholder. So when American Express announced in 2021 that one of its new Platinum perks would be a free Walmart Plus membership, people were confused. How many people, after all, were calling the Amex Platinum Concierge to book opera tickets and also buying Great Value American cheese singles? More than you'd think. And here's why this pairing is, quietly, a stroke of genius. If you're the kind of person who spends nearly $1,000 a year on a luxury credit card, you value convenience above almost everything. You probably don't waste your time browsing the aisles of a Walmart. In fact, you almost certainly don't step foot inside one at all. But odds are, you have your groceries delivered. And here is where Walmart has built a trap that Amazon walked straight into. With a Walmart Plus membership, you get unlimited same-day grocery delivery, no delivery fee on orders over $35, prices identical to in-store. And, because you're almost certainly closer to one of Walmart's 5,000 stores than to a Whole Foods delivery, typically arrives faster than Amazon. Now think about the Whole Foods problem. Amazon's premium grocery option doesn't carry the most popular mainstream brands, which means Prime members often have to place a second order or make a separate trip just to get everything they need. There is no one-stop shop on Amazon for groceries. With Walmart Plus, you order everything from a single app: organic produce, mainstream pantry staples, premium items, It all ships from the same location, arrives at your door the same day, at the same price you'd pay in the store. And remember, Walmart will even send someone inside your home to put it all away for you, if that's what you want. For the high-income consumer who never sets foot inside the store anyway, who decides everything through a screen, the brand stigma largely disappears. The organic grapes arrive at your doorstep the same way they would from Amazon. They just come in a Walmart bag, at a fraction of the price. The experience is virtually identical. The cost is dramatically different. Walmart is offering something more convenient than Amazon. That is a difficult value proposition to argue with. We're about 2/3 of the way through this story. And what comes next is the part most people completely miss. The grocery war is just the surface. What's really being fought over goes much deeper than produce and delivery fees. If you're finding this breakdown useful, hit the like button. It costs you nothing, and it genuinely helps this video reach more people. All right, let's finish this. Here's what's important to understand about the grocery battle. Groceries themselves are not the point. There's not much profit in selling bananas or yogurt. The margins on fresh produce are notoriously thin, often just 1 to 3%. The grocery business by itself is not a particularly good business. The real prize is what groceries represent: a reason to open the app, a recurring, habitual purchase that gets customers in the digital door, frequently enough that they start buying everything else there too. That's the game. Groceries are the hook. Everything else is the catch. As millions of new high-income shoppers begin using Walmart for grocery delivery, they increasingly encounter, right there in the same app, every other category Walmart sells: electronics, clothing, home goods, vitamins, pet supplies, and every additional item added to a grocery order. Say you urgently need olive oil for dinner. $6. You can get it delivered for free today if your total reaches $35. So you add the $29 worth of vitamins you were planning to buy from Amazon anyway. Suddenly those vitamins are coming from Walmart, not Amazon. The delivery nudged a purchase decision that had nothing to do with groceries. This is the engine. It's elegant, and it's powerful. But Walmart has one more structural advantage over Amazon that doesn't get nearly enough attention. And it may ultimately be the most important one. When you order a coffee machine and fresh produce from Amazon at the same time, Amazon pays for 2 separate shipments. The coffee machine ships from an Amazon fulfillment warehouse. The produce ships from a Whole Foods location. 2 origins, 2 delivery chains. No economy of scale. Every combined order costs Amazon more than it would cost a competitor who could ship everything from one place. That inefficiency adds up fast. When you place that same combined order through Walmart, everything ships from a single location, one of its 200,000 square foot supercenters. One truck, one delivery, one set of logistics costs. That's a fundamentally more efficient operation. And in a business of razor-thin margins, delivering a single grocery order typically costs Walmart or Amazon somewhere around $10. On the $35 order, that's a 28% logistics cost. In an industry where total margins typically run between 1 and 3%. The numbers only work if customers order more. Walmart's unified infrastructure makes that math significantly more favorable. Amazon's split supply chain makes it significantly harder. If higher-income households continue migrating to Walmart, and the evidence says they are, the company may finally crack the segment it has never reached. Right now, there is no Walmart within the city limits of San Francisco, Boston, Seattle, or New York. New York City alone represents an untapped market of 8 million of some of America's wealthiest consumers. If Walmart built the same number of supercenters per capita as it has in San Antonio, the 5 boroughs could theoretically support 162 locations. Obviously, That's not going to happen. New York cannot absorb 162 200,000 square foot retail stores. The city's only IKEA is tucked quietly into a corner of Brooklyn. And New York's politicians, unions, and consumers would never allow Walmart in unopposed. It tried in 2013 and was quickly turned away. The opposition was immediate and overwhelming. So a conventional store rollout is off the table. But here's the insight that changes everything. Walmart doesn't need to open a single store to conquer New York, or Boston, or San Francisco. All it needs are fulfillment centers. Giant, invisible warehouses from which groceries and other goods can be delivered directly to customers' doors. No storefront, no parking lot, no political fight over zoning, just a warehouse and an app. Without a physical storefront, there is very little cities can do to stop it. Without a storefront, it would be nearly impossible to stop Walmart from doing exactly what Amazon already does in those markets. In fact, most people wouldn't even notice. If you have ever walked past the Empire State Building on West 34th Street in Manhattan, you probably had no idea. The nondescript office tower next door houses a 50,000 square foot Amazon fulfillment center that serves all of Manhattan. That building could just as easily belong to Walmart, and soon it might. Step back and look at the full picture. Amazon spent a decade and billions of dollars trying to crack physical retail. It failed completely. The stores are closed. The technology was largely a myth. The one exception, Whole Foods, is a niche brand with a natural ceiling. It cannot be expanded without destroying what makes it valuable. Walmart, meanwhile, started from a position of disadvantage in e-commerce and has quietly, systematically closed the gap. It attracted a customer base. It built a delivery infrastructure that outperforms Amazon in speed, price, and simplicity for grocery orders. From the same stores it already had, it found a way to serve two entirely different consumer groups: lower-income in-person shoppers and higher-income online customers. Amazon is brilliant. Its logistics, its technology, and its customer obsession are genuinely without parallel in most of what it does. But in the one category that matters most, the one that gets customers spending every week, not just occasionally, Walmart holds an advantage Amazon has not been able to replicate. The war is far from over. But the scoreboard right now looks very different from what most people expected. Walmart is winning the battle that Amazon started, and it did it without anyone really noticing. There's a broader lesson buried in this story. The company everyone wrote off, dismissed as too old, too stubborn, too associated with budget shopping and flyover country strip malls, turned out to be the one with the structural advantages that actually matter in the long run. Physical presence, supply chain depth, a customer touchpoint that no e-commerce platform can replicate. The grocery run, the most habitual, recurring transaction in the American economy. Amazon is one of the greatest companies ever built, but even the greatest companies have blind spots. And sometimes the most dangerous competitor is the one you stop taking seriously. Walmart never stopped showing up. And that, in the end, may be enough. If you made it to the end of this, genuinely, thank you. Videos like this take real time to put together. If this gave you a new way of thinking about something you thought you already understood, share it. That's how the US code grows. One person sending it to someone they think will find it interesting. That's the whole model. Subscribe if you haven't already. We cover the economic battles, tech field, business strategies, and geopolitical decisions that actually shape the world, and we break them down the way they deserve. Drop a comment below with what you want us to cover next. We read every single one. Until next time.